When it's time to eat, they're going to call you up by tables and take you through the line. Okay? I'm sure there's plenty of food to go through more than once. But
I came to know the Lord here at Trinity Church a little over 20 years ago under the preaching of Mike Ross. And shortly thereafter, 3 or 4 years after that, I went down with some members of this church to Desire Ministries down in New Orleans, the Desire Federal Housing Project. And Mo Leverett was the founder and was heading that up. Well, in the course of being there for a couple of days and just kind of listening to Mo talk about the desperate nature of the neighborhood he lived in and fatherlessness and the crime and the poverty, I think it was there when the Lord first began to put a desire in my heart to minister to children. Amanda and I, my wife Amanda and I have been involved in children's ministry for a number of years, but I began to sense several years ago that the Lord was calling me to a little deeper commitment, maybe a full-time commitment. Obviously, Amanda and I have been praying about it, so I quit my job of nearly 19 years, so that was sort of the birth of Sons of the King.
we describe it to everybody as it's an after-school and summer club for boys, and through different things, whether it be through art, whether it be through athletics, whether it be through academics, we're trying to point them to Jesus. We're trying to, show them how important the gospel is to every aspect of their life.
Well, a typical day at Sons of the King starts when we drive the big, ugly yellow school bus that we're so thankful to the Lord to have. Over to McLeod Elementary School. McLeod is a school in the Jackson Public School system, and they go to 5th grade. We pick the boys up after school, and we bring them back here, and we have 35-40 minutes of just free time, of play time. We typically get here and get the snacks out on the table and get the water, their drink poured and whatnot, so that we can come right in after playtime and have our snack. And James and I take turns. He does the devotional one week. I'll do the devotional the following week.
It seems like a shepherd's staff to remind you that Jesus came to be your good shepherd, John 10:11. And after that, we'll have tutors arrive, and we'll break them up into small groups, and then we'll tutor for an hour, mainly during the school year, just getting their homework done. During the summer, we've got curriculum that we go through with them, so they're getting academics. It never stops.
I tutor once a week. I tutor on Wednesdays, and I usually work with the 2nd grade boys, and we do all sorts of homework. Their homework sometimes keeps me on my toes and surprises me how I have to think about it a little bit.
After homework time, 2 days a week on Mondays and Thursdays, my son-in-law David Howie comes, and he and I teach Shotokan karate.
They spend most of their time sparring, which the boys they love. That's the most fun, that's the stuff you do.
Tuesdays, a young man from over at Redeemer Press, Simeon Robbins, who's actually on their music team, comes over and does a very good music program with the boys.
Mr. Simeon comes here. The boys love him. He is, for an hour, he takes them and teaches them new songs.
Wednesdays, Anna Segrist, one of our members, very gifted, artistically gifted young mom, comes and with her whole brood of children in tow. And she does a fabulous art class.
They work on projects. They do all kind of stuff. They just got through doing some stuff for their moms for Mother's Day.
Myself with some of the other women in the church, we also plan a Christmas party for the boys, and then we have a Mother's Day tea for their mothers.
Obviously, the centerpiece of all we do is the gospel, and so we're very careful to not just strive to model Christ to the boys, but also to explicitly preach Christ to them on a daily basis.
They hear the gospel every single day, and I know there are times in my life where I don't hear someone preaching the gospel every single day to me, so they're hearing foundational truth day in and day out.
Whether it be through art, whether it be through athletics, whether it be through academics, we're trying to point them to Jesus. We're trying to, show them how important the gospel is to every aspect of their life. And so when we have our art, our instructor, Miss Anna, she's going to be proclaiming the gospel to them. When we have music with Mr. Simeon, he's going to be telling them why we're singing what we're singing. And even our karate classes with Sensei David, he's going to always tie in the gospel to what he's doing. last school year, we got connected with Child Evangelism Fellowship to start a Good News Club, and we were trying to get in McLeod.
We already had a heart for the neighborhood, and then Johnny Williams started Sons of the King at Trinity, and many of the young boys come here to McLeod, and that was really the opening of the door.
The Good News Club essentially is, I describe it as a day of vacation Bible school packed into 1 hour. It's very fast-paced. It involves singing of songs, a missionary story, a Bible memory verse time, and then also, and of course, a Bible story.
It's presented in a very simple way to them, and yet I see them processing with a level of spiritual maturity that's surprising. Some of the ways they interact and the questions they ask, it just lets me know that they're getting it, and it's not, it's not just going over their head.
In each age group, there is an assigned shepherd, and I'm a shepherd with the kindergarten and first grade girls. My role is to model the love of Christ, but also to keep order and discipline, and also to be there for these girls if they want to talk with me about knowing who Jesus is.
I'm the grade shepherd for the second grade boys with Jeffrey, and then I do the music, which means I've just learned it ahead of time and made up some motions for it, and then I try to teach that to the kids. I think it's really good that they've got words explaining the gospel set to music that now they're going to have for the rest of their lives probably in their heads as they repeat them every week.
I do what is the little missions moment. It's a little story that is written by a missionary, and it's a way to relate to the kids, and they are typically written to leave a little cliffhanger so the kids look forward to it, and it's always just a way to share the gospel.
My girls are always talking about, what do you think he's going to talk in the story today, talking about Mr. Ben's missionary story.
Anglo, that's what they call spiritual guys. They are very... I'm surprised every week I will see that some have been listening that I didn't think were, and they can repeat back to you some of the story. A couple of weeks ago, one of the young men, Johnny, was saying we need to do business with Christ, and one of the young men turned to me and he said, Coach told me how to do business with Jesus, and I did. And a few weeks prior to that, another young boy had asked Jesus to be his Savior, and he was asking questions about his assurance, and they were genuine, heartfelt questions. He wanted to be sure that he was a Christian.
The one thing that you can say for sure is that they're learning. They remember the stories, they're paying attention, they remember the songs, they have the gospel now, they know what it is, and it's something they can respond to at any point, whether right now while they're young or when they're older.
We have children, certainly not just these children, but we have children who think the whole world, they think that everything is all about how much money I make and how successful I am and how much bling I wear and what kind of car I drive, and we just try to impress on them every day that it's an illusion and it's the way of death.
We were just thinking the other day, we were talking about a young man who, if the Holy Spirit, he's in a bad spot, then we had to stop. It's like, we're in that bad spot. We are desperate for the gospel. Without it, we're not going to make it. And so you identify with these boys that way, and it's just, you get more and more burden for them because you just love them more and more. I mean, I'm around these kids more than I'm around my own kids, right? And it's a beautiful thing.
I visualize, them growing to be, first of all, men who love Jesus, and then men who love their wives, and men who love their children, and love their families, and love their churches, and who are contributing members of society, and who are multipliers of the gospel, and who are role models in their community. That's what I want for them. I want them to know Jesus first. Well, first of all, I want to recognize the fact that many people, without Trinity Church, without the hands-on involvement, without the prayers, and without the financial support of the people of Trinity Church, this ministry is not possible.
We can always use more volunteers to come and be a part, just to come and watch and love these kids.
They just love the volunteers. I mean, they understand. They're calling these guys by name when they see them in church. It's awesome to see so many people have invested in these young boys and girls' lives.
I believe that the children sense this also. I would love to pray and see others come and join us and receive that same blessing.
When we see the mothers come to pick the boys up on Wednesdays when we're here just for fellowship supper, just engaging with the mothers, because they're part of this ministry just as much as the boys are.
We can always use more tutors. We would love it to get to a point where there's one per every maybe 1 or 2 children.
Prayer is the biggest thing. I would often hear missionaries speak at missions conferences, and where they would say, we obviously need your support, we need your money, but we just really need, if we could only get one thing, we would take your prayer. And there's tons of things we can do. But right now, our most immediate thing is a few more folks helping with homework time, financial support, and prayer.